Hey dude, you okay? Just doing the round. Hey dude. You're under arrest. Put your hands behind your back and get down on your knees.
What's the charge?
Walking while spectacularly beautiful.
You can't be serious!
I'm dead serious. You're under arrest.
Leave me alone!
Put your hands on the cauldron and get down on your knees. You're under arrest.
I don't know on what charge a pre-Hebel officer would be wandering around here, though I might mind you say your name in a few of the wrong places, and you'd be back to the mortal realm. Yes, this is the netherworld. The between-the-way realm people go to between their lives on Earth and their new lives on Earth, in heaven, in hell, or a myriad of other realms. You must be new here. Ah, yes. People in the pre-Hebel region are under a spell. They don't know where they are, where they came from, or where they're going.
Diparasite.
It's
Brain
okay,
donor.
dear. Just go your way.
Stupid fucking log. Stupid bitch.
Put your hands on the cauldron.
You're too stupid.
I don't know on what charge a pre-Hebel
Stupid
officer would be
fuck.
wandering around here.
You're
yes,
stupid.
This is the... You must be
Shit
new.
to the brains piece of crap.
Don't worry,
Brainless
dear. I'm
parasite.
Here to help.
Weirdo.
What we lost was nothing compared to what we plan to take.
Shit for brain.
You're
Piece of crap.
worthless
Cow.
shithead.
Loner.
Goddamn fucker.
Brainless
Stupid
parasite.
fucking log.
Geek. Piece of crap.
You're weird. You're too stupid, fuck.
Motherfucker.
Pervert.
You worm.
Useless log. Piece of garbage. Stupid bitch. Weirdo.
You're sick. Worthless cow. You're weird. Fuck you, motherfucker. Pervert. Die worm.
Brain donor. Garbage worm.
Virgin. Useless log. Goddamn fucker. Eat it, shithead. Loner. Recalcitrant. You worm. Garbage worm. Piece of garbage. Loser.
Once upon a midnight dreary,
Parasite.
while I
worm.
pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of
donor.
forgotten lore. While I nodded,
Stupid
nearly
bitch.
napping,
Piece of crap.
suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping
Worthless
at
cow.
my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. "Virgin, only this and nothing more." Ah, distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its
Shit to
ghost
the brains,
upon the
piece of
floor.
crap.
You're Eagerly I wished the morrow.
I worm.
Vainly I had sought to borrow from my book surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before. So that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Go to hell! Kiss my ass! Shut up! Go to hell! Shut up! Kiss my ass! Go to hell! Shut up! Kiss my ass! Go to hell! Shut up! Kiss my ass! Go to hell!" Chapter 5. The Unconscious. The sphere of the unconscious, infantile fantasies has become the real object of psychoanalytic investigation. As we have previously pointed out, this domain seems to retain the key to the etiology of neurosis. In contradistinction with the trauma theory, we are forced by the reasons already adduced to seek in the family history for the basis of our present psychoanalytic attitude. Those fantasy systems which patients exhibit on mere
Piece of
questioning
garbage.
are for the most part composed and
Eat it,
elaborate, like a novel or a drama. Although they are greatly elaborated, they are relatively of little value for the investigation of the unconscious. Just because they are conscious, they have already deferred overmuch to the claims of etiquette and social morality. Hence they have been purged of all personally painful and ugly details, and are presentable to society, revealing very little. The valuable, and much more important fantasies, are not conscious in the sense already defined, but are to be discovered through the technique of psychoanalysis.
Shit for
Without
brains,
wishing
piece
to
of crap!
enter fully into the
You're too
question of
stupid.
technique, I must here meet an objection that is constantly heard. It is that the so-called unconscious fantasies are only suggested to the patient, and only exist in the minds of psychoanalysts. This objection belongs to that common class which ascribes to them the crude mistakes of beginners. I think only those without psychological experience and without historical psychological knowledge are capable of making such criticisms. With a mere glimmering of mythological knowledge, one cannot fail to notice the striking parallels between the unconscious fantasies discovered by the psychoanalytic school and mythological images. Pervert, the objection that our knowledge of mythology has been suggested to the patient is groundless, for the psychoanalytic school first discovered the unconscious fantasies, and only then became acquainted with mythology. Mythology itself is obviously something outside the path of the medical man.
Fucking log!
Insofar as these fantasies are unconscious. 56. The patient, of course, knows nothing about their existence, and it would be absurd to make direct inquiries about them. Nevertheless, it is often said, both by patients and by so-called normal persons. But if I had kiss my shut up, go to hell.
I don't know anything about mangoes.
Ma'am, I didn't say anything. I didn't even say hello.
I have a right to remain silent.
You're stupid.
Goddamn fucker!
You're sick. You're stupid. Brainless parasite. Being dead is fun. You get to come back to life. And I'm you. We're the same entity. You and me are the same being. Me? Hang out with you? Do you have 10 million maca to buy my mansion?
No.
Then fuck off. I don't have time for people like you. Go sit alone in your room and call mommy.
I'd have, I live a rich inner life. I'm a programmer. I'm working on my game, which I hope will be a big hit one day.
I'll never let your dreams come true. Loser, you don't even have 10 million maca.
pervert. Fuck you. Worthless cow. Brain donor. Stupid fucking log.
Shit to
Shit
brains,
for brains, piece of crap. You brainless parasite.
Weirdo.
Stupid
Diparasite.
bitch. That's so stupid. Useless log.
Goddamn
Shithead.
fucker!
Fuck. You're weird. Piece of crap. Fucking log.
You're sick!
Stupid fuck. Worthless cow. Parasite. Brain donor. Weird. Once upon a midnight dreary, association experiments, we are able to recognize the very intense effects produced by the unconscious in what are called complex interventions. These mistakes made in the association experiment
Piece of garbage.
are nothing but the prototypes of the mistakes made in everyday life, which are for the greater
too
part
stupid.
to be considered as interventions. Parasite. Freud brought together such material in his book, The Psychopathology of Everyday Life. These include the so-called symptomatic actions, which from 66 another point of view might equally as well be called symbolic actions, and the real failures to carry out actions, such as forgetting, slips of the tongue, etc. All these phenomena are the effect of unconscious constellations, and therefore so many entrance gates into the domain of the unconscious. When such errors are cumulative, they are designated as neurosis, which from this aspect looks like a defective action, and therefore the effect of unconscious constellations or complex interventions. The association experiment is thus not directly a means to unlock the unconscious, but rather a technique for obtaining a good selection of defective reactions, which can then be used by psychoanalysis. At least, this is its most reliable form of application at the present time. I may, however, mention that it is possible that it may furnish other, especially valuable facts which would grant us some direct glimpses, but I do not consider this problem sufficiently ripe to speak about. Investigations in this direction are going on. I hope that, through my explanation of our method, you may have gained somewhat more confidence in its scientific character, so that you will be, by this time, more inclined to agree that the fantasies which have been hitherto discovered by means of psychoanalytic work are not merely arbitrary suppositions and illusions.
Introduction.
Exposition of the question of the meaning of being. I. The necessity, structure, and priority of the question of being. The necessity for explicit phi.
Loner.
Restating the question of being.
This question has today been forgotten. Even though, in our time, we deem it progressive to give our approval to metaphysics again, it is held
That we have been exempted from the exertions of a newly rekindled apocalypse of
Goddamn
the meaning
fucker.
of being, Plato Sophist.
Yet the question we are touching upon is not just
any question.
All the monkeys clapped
You're
their
too
hands
stupid.
in acclamation, saying, "Wonderful,
Recalcitrant.
wonderful.
Loner.
Tomorrow we shall score.
Weirdo.
Mountain ranches
Eat it,
together
shithead.
plenty of fruits, so
That we may send the great
Piece
king
of
off
crap.
with a great banquet." Next day, the
You
monkeys
worm.
duly
went to gather immortal peaches,
Motherfucker!
to pick rare fruits, to dig out mountain herbs, and to chop yellow sperms. They brought in an orderly manner every variety of orchids and epidendrums, exotic plants and strange flowers. They set out the stone chairs and stone tables, covering the tables with immortal wines and food. Look at thee. Golden balls and pearly pellets, red ripeness and yellow plumpness. Golden balls and pearly pellets are the cherries, their colors truly luscious.
Our master teaches the true doctrine that governs this realm is concealed and always will be. Or was it that it's not concealed and won't be? And I think he said something about all other faiths being an aspect of the divine, revealing itself to humanity, but that it only feeds them what they already believe, and they make it God, or what they don't believe, or something. Hey, do you want to buy something from the shop? Lord Buddha commands you buy something good. When is my shift over? I want to go home and read manga. We have handguns for 50,000 maka and shotguns for 100,000 maka. We have armor that will make your enemy's attacks bounce off you for 200,000 maka. We have a set of invisible claws that tear apart enemies' flesh and poison them, dealing massive damage. To kill them for 50,000 maka. And we also sell stink grapes. It deals 1% damage to an opponent and also prevents health regeneration. Shut it down with stink grapes. 1 billion maca each. No refunds. Lord Buddha says, we need to become free from our attachments to items like these. So we are ridding ourselves of them, but there's no reason we can't turn a reasonable profit. You need to detach yourself from your maca. Go the macaless path for today. Your soul will thank you. Our master teaches the true doctrine that governs this realm is concealed and always will be. Or was it that it's not concealed and won't be? And I think he said something about all other faiths being an aspect of the divine, revealing itself to humanity, but that it only feeds them what they already believe, and they make it God, or what they don't believe, or something. Hey, do you want to buy something from the shop? Lord Buddha commands you buy something good. Okay. Here are some items the Lord Buddha wanted you to have for joining. This should make your early adventures a lot easier. Too easy. Just be forewarned. Many of the other gods will reject you because you chose this path. It may make your journey more difficult in the long run. But always remember, Buddha is sitting on a lotus, on a cloud in the sky. If you can find him, he's always happy to talk to newcomers. Thank you for shopping at Fairy Fountain. Our master teaches the true doctrine that governs this realm is concealed. And all, are you blind, deaf, and dumb? This is the netherworld, the place where mortals go when they die on their way to the next life. It is a construct realm created by the divine entity who bears no name. You are an aspect of that divine entity. You are that entity, and so am I. This is an artifice world created by the divine who exists on a different plane of existence to us. This place is his toy, and we know not its nature. All we know is that what we call existence is artificial, ephemeral, and the true reality is obscure to us, and we cannot go from one to the other. Everyone knows this. Do you need to know that rain falls from the sky too? Were you born yesterday? In the deep dark woods, far away from other people, there is a house, all rotten from wear and plagued by water damage. The plant life almost reaches into the house, but it does not reach the interior. All of us make our way there. Eventually, whether we know about it or not, most of us do. If you look in the backyard, and all of us do eventually, as an immortal's life is long, and everything is done eventually. Eventually, everything is done again and again. Forever. When you go into the well, that's the end of your journey. You move on to the other realm, your story ends, and you start a new one. Or something. We don't really know what happens when you do. No one has ever come back. Our master teaches the truth. Are you blind? It is a concept. Everyone knows this. Do you need to know that if the Lord Buddha was a demon again, I would not judge him for this, as we do not judge people for such things here anymore. If the Lord Buddha were to harm me, then we would have a disagreement and would be at odds. But since the Lord Buddha has not harmed me, why would I? He gave me this beautiful new body, for I was once an old woman, and he gave me this job, which I don't hate at all, Lord Buddha. Lots of people around here are demons. I suggest you get used to it. Geez, when is my shift over? My payday is tomorrow. I hate dealing with these Thank you for shopping at Fairy Fountain. Our master teaches. Are you blind? It is a Everyone knows this. Do you need to know that rain falls from the sky too? Were you born yesterday? Christ is always around here somewhere. I don't like him after talking to him. If you want to meet him, you need to reach the kingdom of God, which is in the sky above Prehevel. Just look for a red mailbox with a yellow apple on top and fly up into the air. You will make your way eventually to heaven's kingdom. Then you can meet your Christ. I hope he lives up to your expectations. What? You can't fly yet? Don't worry. It's easy. You'll figure it out. Our master teaches the true doctrine that governs this realm is concealed and always will be. What? Don't talk like that around here, or the Lord Buddha will get mad. I'm sorry, you do not currently have enough to afford my services. I'm sorry, you're not high level enough for that. Our master teaches the true doctrine that Thank you for shopping at Fairy Fountain.
Stupid bitch. Stupid fucking log. Motherfucker. Worthless cow. Goddamn virgin. Stupid worm.
1.
Eat it, shithead.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea,
Fuck you.
and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns
Loser.
10 crowns, and upon his
Brainless
heads
parasite.
the name of blasphemy. 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him power,
Shit for brains,
and
piece
his
of crap.
seat, and great authority. 3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. 4. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him?
Parasite.
5. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 40 and 2
Useless log.
months. 6.
Garbage
And he
worm.
opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. I'm too stupid. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds, and tongues, and nations. 8. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world.
9. If any man have an ear, let him hear.
10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword
Piece
must
of
be
garbage.
killed with the sword. He that patience and faith of the saints.
11.
Brain donor.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
12. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him. Kiss my ass. Go to hell. Shut up. Kiss my ass. There was on top of that very
Garbage
mortal
worm.
stone which measured
36 feet and 5 inches in height and 24 feet in circumference. The
height of 36 feet and 5 inches corresponded to the 365 cyclical degrees, while the circumference of 24 feet corresponded to the 24 solar terms.
Weird.
On the stone were also 9 holes and 8 holes,
Pervert. Brain
which
donor.
corresponded to
You're sick.
the 9
You're sick.
constellations.
You're stupid.
Trigrams. Though it shade of trees on all sides, it was set off by epidendrums on the left and right. Since the creation of the world, it had been nourished for a long period by the seeds of heaven and earth, and by the essences of the sun and the moon, until quickened by divine inspiration.
Fuck you.
It came with a divine embryo.
Stupid
One day,
fucking
it opened, giving birth
to a stone egg about the size of a playing ball. Exposed to the wind, it was transformed into a stone monkey endowed with fully developed featuras and limbs, having learned at once to climb and run. He also bowed to the 4 quarters, while 2 beams of golden light flashed from his eyes to reach even the palace of the pole star. The light disturbed the great benevolent sage of heaven, the celestial jade of the most. Venerable Diva, who, attended by his divine garbage, was sitting in the cloud palace of the golden arches, in the treasure hall of the divine mists. Upon seeing the Nyarlathotep by H.P. Lovecraft. Nyarlathotep, the crawling chaos. I am the last. I will give the audience voice.
useless log.
I do not recall distinctly when it began, but it was months ago. It was horrible. To a season of political and social upheaval was added a strange and brooding apprehension of serious physical danger. A danger spread and all-embracing. Such a danger as may be imagined only in the most terrible phantasms of the night. I recall that the people went about with pale and worried faces, and whispered warnings and prophecies, which no one dared consciously repeat or acknowledge to himself that he had heard. A sense of monstrous guilt was upon the land, and out of the abysses between the stars swept chill currents that made men shiver in dark and lonely places. There was a demoniac alteration in the sequence of the seasons. The autumn heat lingered fearsomely, and everyone felt that the world and perhaps the universe had passed from the control of known gods or forces to that of gods or forces which were unknown. And it was then that Nyarlathotep came out of Egypt. Who he was, none could tell, but he was of the old native blood and looked like a pharaoh. The fellahin knelt when they saw him, yet could not say why. He said he had risen up out of the blackness of 27 centuries, and that he had heard messages from places not on this planet. Into the lands of civilization came Nyarlathotep, swarthy, slender, and sinister, always buying strange instruments of glass and metal, and combining them into instruments yet stranger. He spoke much of the sciences, of electricity and psychology, and gave exhibitions of power which sent his spectators away speechless, yet which swelled his fame to exceeding magnitude. Men advised one another to see Nyarlathotep, and shuddered. And where Nyarlathotep went, rest vanished, for the small hours were rent with the screams of nightmare. Never before had the screams of nightmare been such a public problem. Now the wise men almost wished they could forbid sleep in the small hours, that the shrieks of cities might less horribly disturb the pale, pitying moon as it glimmered on green waters gliding under bridges, and old steeples crumbling against a sickly sky. I remember when Nyarlathotep came to Zeus, to my city, the great, the old, the terrible city of unumbered crimes. My friend had told me of him, and of the impelling fascination and allurement of his revelations. And I burned with eagerness to explore his uttermost mysteries. My friend said they were horrible and impressive, beyond my most fevered imaginings, that what was thrown on a screen in the darkened room prophesied things none but Nyarlathotep dared prophesy, and that, in the sputter of his sparks, there was taken from men that which had never been taken before yet, which showed only in the eyes. And I heard it hinted abroad that those who knew Nyarlathotep looked on sights which others saw not. It was in the hot autumn that I went through the night with the restless crowds to see Nyarlathotep. Through the stifling night and up the endless stairs into the choking room. And shadowed on a screen, I saw hooded forms amidst ruins, and yellow evil faces peering from behind fallen monuments. And I saw the world battling against blackness, against the waves of destruction from ultimate space, whirling, churning, struggling around the dimming, cooling sun. Then, the sparks played amazingly around the heads of the spectators, and hair stood up on end, while shadows more grotesque than I can tell came out and squatted on the heads. And when I, who was colder and more scientific than the rest, mumbled a trembling protest about imposture and static electricity, Nyarlathotep drave us all out, down the dizzy stairs into the damp, hot, deserted midnight streets. I screamed aloud that I was not afraid, that I never could be afraid, and others screamed with me for solace. We swore to one another that the city was exactly the same and still alive. And when the electric lights began to fade, we cursed the company over and over again, and laughed at the queer faces we made. I believe we felt something coming down from the greenish moon, for when we began to depend on its light, we drifted into curious involuntary formations, and seemed to know our destinations, though we dared not think of them. Once we looked at the pavement and found the blocks loose and displaced by grass, with scarce a line of rusted metal to show where the tramways had run. And again we saw a tramcar, lone, windowless, dilapidated, and almost on its side. When we gazed around the horizon, we could not find the third tower by the river, and noticed that the silhouette of the second tower was ragged at the top. Then we split up into narrow columns, each of which seemed drawn into this in a different direction. One disappeared in a narrow alley to the left, leaving only the echo of a shocking moan. Another filed down a weed-choked subway entrance, howling with a laughter that was mad. My own column was sucked toward the open country, and presently felt a chill, which was not of the hot autumn. For as we stalked out on the dark moor, we beheld around us the hellish moon of evil snows, trackless, inexplicable. Go to hell! Shut up! You worm!
Stupid bitch. 1. In the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. 2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. 3. And God said, Let there be light, and there was light. 4. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. 5. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. 6. And God said, Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. 7. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. 8. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. 9. And God said, Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. 10. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called as seas, and God saw that it was good. 11. And God said, Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself, upon the earth. And it was so. 12. And the earth brought forth grass, an herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. 13. And the evening and the morning were the third day. 14. And God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and years. 15. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And 16. And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. 17. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. 18. And to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. 19. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. 20. And God said, Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. 21. And God created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. 22. And God blessed them, saying, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth. 23. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. 24. And God said, Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beast of the earth after his kind. And it was so. 25. And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. 26. And God said, Let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. 28. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. 20:29 And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. 30 And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat, and it was so. 31 And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. I. External, objective, sensory stimuli. J. Internal, subjective, sensory stimuli. E. Internal, organic, physical excitations. 4. Purely psychical exciting sources. I. The external sensory stimuli. The younger Strimple, son of the philosopher whose writings on the subject have already more than once served us as a guide in the problem of dreams, has, as is well known, reported his observations on a patient who was afflicted with general anesthesia of the skin and with paralysis of several of the higher sensory organs. This man merged into sleep when his few remaining sensory paths from the outer world were shut off. When we wish to sleep, we are wont to strive for a situation resembling the one in Strimpel's experiment. We close the most important sensory paths, the eyes, and we endeavor to keep away from the other senses every stimulus and every change of the stimuli acting upon them. We then fall asleep, although we are never perfectly successful in our preparations. We can neither keep the stimuli away from the sensory organs altogether, nor can we fully extinguish the irritability of the sensory organs. That we may at any time be awakened by stronger stimuli should prove to us that the mind has remained in constant communication with the material world even during sleep. The sensory stimuli which reach us during sleep may easily become the source of dreams. There are a great many stimuli of such nature, ranging from those that are unavoidable, being brought on by the sleeping state or at least occasionally induced by it, to the accidental waking stimuli which are adapted or Shut up, kiss, go to shut up. The Tale of Genji Kiritsubo, Yuanshi Wuchu, Tonghu, by Murasaki Shikibu, Zishibu. Translated by Akiko Yosano. Yushei Kinshi, Dono Kagayaku ka to hino koushi hiya hazaru, kotowari mo nashi, kyunshi. どの天王様の言った異名であったか、農業に用語とか講義行為とか割れる多く呼吸が大勢いた種に最上の貴族出身ではないが、愛情を得ている人があった。最初から自分こそはという自信と異兄弟の実力にしたの無所があって、公衆家にはいた農業たちからは色種なモンスとして妬まれた。その人と同等、もしくはそれより地位の低い公儀たちはましてしとしとの顔炎を燃やさないわけもなかった。夜の幾点をとどのささゆ諸との居所から追い下がる朝。7. Meanwhile, the evening came on, and the marketplace veiled itself in gloom. Then the people dispersed, for even curiosity and terror become fatigued. Zarathustra, however, still sat beside the dead man on the ground, absorbed in thought, so he forgot the time. But at last it became night, and a cold wind blew upon the lonely one. Then arose Zarathustra and said to his heart, Verily, a fine catch of fish hath Zarathustra made today. Parasite. Motherfucker. Brainless parasite. Pervert. Eat it, shithead. Die worm. You worm. You're weird. Loner. Useless log. Loser. Brain donor. Stupid fuck. Shit, different brains, piece of crap.
Worthless
Recalcitrant. Piece of crap, piece of garbage. Garbage worm. Geek. Virgin. You're too stupid. Weirdo. Yes, by heaven, he said, and 'tis as good as a play to hear them talking about their condensed notes, as they call them. They put their ears close alongside of the strings like persons catching a sound from that neighbor's wall.
You worm.
One
Fuck
set
you.
of them declaring that they distinguish an intermediate note and have found the least interval, which should be the unit of measurement. The others insisting that the two sounds have passed into the same, either party setting their ears before their understanding. You mean, I said, those gentlemen who tease and torture the strings and rack them on the pegs of the instrument. I might carry on the metaphor and speak after their manner of the blows which the plectrum gives, and make accusations against the strings, both of backwardness and forwardness to sound. But this would be tedious, and therefore I will only say that these are not the men, and that I am referring to the Pythagoreans, of whom I was just now proposing to inquire about harmony. For they too are in error. Like the astronomers. They investigate the numbers of the harmonies which are heard, but they never attain to problems. That is to say, they never reach the natural harmonies of number, or reflect why some numbers are harmonious and others not. That, he said, is a thing of more than mortal knowledge. A thing, I replied, which I would rather call useful, that is, if sought after with a view to the beautiful and good, but if pursued in any other spirit, useless. Very true, he said. Now, when all these studies reach the point of intercommunion and connection with one another and come to be considered in their mutual affinities, then, I think, but not till then, will the pursuit of them have a value for our objects. Otherwise, there is no profit in them. I suspect so. But you are speaking, Socrates, of a value. You're too stupid. What do you mean, I said. The prelude. You're stupid. Do you not know that all this is but the prelude to the actual strain which we have to learn? For you surely would not regard the skilled mathematician as a dialectician. Assuredly not, he said. I've hardly ever known a mathematician who was capable of reasoning, but do you imagine that men who are unable to give and take a reason will have the knowledge which we require of them? Neither can this be supposed. And so, Glaucon, I said, we have at last arrived at the hymn of dialectic. This is that strain which is of the intellect only, but which the faculty of sight will nevertheless be found to imitate. For sight, turn, as you may remember, was imagined by us after a while to behold the real animals and stars, and last of all, the sun himself. And so, with dialectic, when a person starts on the discovery of the absolute by the light of reason only and without any assistance of sense and perseveres until by pure intelligence he arrives at the perception of the absolute good, he at last finds himself at the end of the intellectual world, as in the case of sight at the end. Go to hell!
Ew, disgusting.
What's wrong?
I just moved into my new apartment 3 weeks ago, and I was looking at the sunset, and I saw a roach. Ew!
The roaches will win. It's more common than people think. Well, you could move.
Move? I just moved in. Why would I move?
Oh, you will move, and the roaches will win. In my old apartment, I saw roaches in the first week of moving there. Then there were more, and more. More roaches than you can possibly imagine. A universe of roaches, a megalith of roaches to other dimensions. Oh, I thought I could stop them too. Eventually, they started breaking into the fridge. The roaches will win. I couldn't keep my toothbrush safe. They were in my room crawling all over my bed. Everywhere. I had to store food in sealed plastic boxes because the fridge was full of roaches. 1 year later, there were so many roaches I couldn't bring a pizza in from outside without the roaches crawling all over my arms to get it before I could eat the fucking thing. The place was condemned. The roaches won, but I survived. I'm 27. This has happened 3 times.
You're a poor landlord. No, I'll spray.
Doesn't fucking do anything. Try it and see. Spray the roaches. Some roaches die. It's clear for a day, and then...
No, I'll never lose to the roaches.
Motherfucker. Motherfucker. Pervert. Geek. You're too stupid. Long slept Zarathustra, and not only the rosy dawn passed over his head, but also the morning. At last, however, his eyes opened, and amazedly he gazed into the forest and the stillness. Amazedly he gazed into himself. Then he arose quickly, like a seafarer who all at once seeth the land, and he shouted for joy, for he saw a new truth. And he spake thus to his heart, A light hath dawned upon me. I need companions, living ones, not dead companions and corpses, which I carry with me where I will. But I need living companions who will follow me because they want to follow themselves, and to the place where I will. A light hath dawned upon me. Not to the people is Zarathustra to speak, but to companions. Zarathustra shall not be the herd's herdsman and hound. To allure many from the herd, for that purpose have I come. The people and the herd must be angry with me. A robber shall Zarathustra be called by the herdsmen. Herdsmen, I say, but they call themselves the good and just. Herdsmen, I say, but they call themselves the believers in the orthodox belief. Behold the good and just. Whom do they hate most? Him who breaketh up their tables of values, the breaker, the lawbreaker. He, however, is the creator. Behold the believers of all beliefs. Whom do they hate most? Him who breaketh up their tables of values, the breaker, the lawbreaker. He, however, is the creator. Companions, the creator seeketh, not corpses, and not herds or believers either. Fellow creators, the creator seeketh, those who grave new values on new tables. Companions, the creator seeketh, and fellow reapers, for everything is ripe for the harvest with him. But he lacketh the 100 sickles, so he plucketh the ears of corn, and is vexed. Companions, the creator seeketh, and such as know how to whet their sickles. Destroyers, will they be called, and despisers of good and evil, but they are the reapers and rejoicers. Fellow creators Zarathustra seeketh, fellow reapers and fellow rejoicers. Lu Zarathustra seeketh. What hath he to do with herds and herdsmen and corpses? And thou, my first companion, rest in peace. Well have I buried thee in thy hollow tree, well have I hid thee from the wolves. But I part from thee, the time hath arrived. Twixt rosy dawn and rosy dawn there came unto me a new truth. I am not to be a herdsman, I am not to be a gravedigger. Not any more will I discourse unto the people. For the last time have I spoken unto the dead. With the creators, the reapers, and the rejoicers will I associate. The rainbow will I show them, and all the stairs to the Superman. To the lone dwellers will I sing my song, and to the twain dwellers, and unto him who hath still ears for the unheard, will I make the heart heavy with my happiness. I make for my goal, I follow my course, over the loitering and hearty will I lead, thus let my ongoing be their downgoing. It's time to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm so shit to for brains piece of crap. Now this is than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. You're stupid fucking lord. Yea, Lord God said, you're weird. We shall not eat of every tree of the garden. 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. 3. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. 4. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. 5. For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. 7. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons.
Eat it, shithead.
And they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God amongst the trees
Goddamn
of the garden.
fucker.
9. And the Lord God called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? 10. And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. 11. And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked? What is this place? How did I get here?
Is that all you came here to ask me? This is Artifice, the construct world. Egad, you know where you are and where you came from. Didn't anybody tell you about the mating process?
Who are you?
I am the one who sits above and watches. I am the architect of all these events, the designer of this world. I am, for want of a better term, God of this world.
You don't look much like a god.
I wear the face of whatever's around, communicate with you as much through events as symbols, books, people. If you're talking to your mama, you're talking to me for a time.
What am I doing here?
Ah, a much better question, I think. Just walk through that door and you'll understand.
A thinker, are we? Well, I guess you could just wander around in this graveyard doing nothing but contemplate your navel.
Old windy poets speak of pacts with otherworldly powers, cauldrons of magical brew, and a man who took the body of a woman. How do you do? Old windy poets speak of... If meeting me pleases you, I'm going to give you one chance to impress me by granting my request. I want you to give me your ear as a sign of goodwill for further negotiations. Ooh, oh yes, nice, I see. Yes, thank you. Well, you're the kind of person I like. So, I'm going to stick around for one thing, but I'm also going to give you 3 ha 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 ha. My kind of a germ. My you are. Ha 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 ha. Of course, we'll kill the person you hate. You're my kind of bedbug. Beggar you find poverty. Faster, failing you and money enough to buy lots of knives. They'll die.
I call an animal, a species, an individual corrupt when it loses its instincts, when it chooses, when it prefers, what is injurious to it. A history of the higher feelings, the ideals of humanity, and it is possible that I'll have to write it, would almost explain why man is so degenerate. Life itself appears to me as an instinct for growth, for survival, for the accumulation of forces, for power. Whenever the will to power fails, there is disaster. My contention is that all the highest values of humanity have been emptied of this will, that the values of decadence, of nihilism, now prevail under the holiest names. For instance, that bottle of wine over there, open it up, bring it over here. Drink this wine or die. What we lost was nothing compared to what we've planned to take.
Brain donor.
Old windy poets speak. I'm nobody, nowhere, never, and nothing. And now I'm gone.
What is this place? How did I get here?
Is that all you came here to ask me? This is
Who are you? You don't look-
I wear the face.
What am I doing?
a much better question, I think. Just,
You'll fight people. You'll struggle and strive. You'll meet friends and family. Maybe even make more of yourself. These things take a long time. One day you'll die never knowing.
What is this?
is that
Who are you?
I am the.
You don't look much-
I wear the fake.
What am I doing?
a much better question, I think.
The adventurous type. Then hurry on. Soldier, see what's on the other side.
Parasite.
Hello. My misery could fill an ocean liner, and my tales could fill an ocean proper, for I am the first man.
First man? Eh? Ha. You may be the first man, but you are also the last man. Then, however, something happened which made every mouth mute and every eye fixed. In the meantime, of course, the rope dancer had commenced his performance. He had come out at a little door and was going along the rope which was stretched between two towers, so that it hung above the marketplace and the people. When he was just midway across, the little door opened once more, and a gaudily dressed fellow like a buffoon sprang out and went rapidly after the first one. "Go on, Haltfoot," cried his frightful voice. "Go on, lazybones, interloper, sallow face, lest I tickle thee with my heel. What dost thou here between the towers? In the tower is the place for thee. Thou shouldst be locked up. To one better than thyself thou blockest the way." And with every word he came nearer and nearer the first one. When, however, he was but a step behind, there happened the frightful thing which made every mouth mute and every eye fixed. He uttered a yell like a devil, and jumped over the other who was in his way. The latter, however, when he thus saw his rival triumph, lost at the same time his head and his footing on the rope. He threw his pole away and shot downwards faster than it, like an eddy of arms and legs, into the depth. The marketplace and the people were like the sea when the storm cometh on. They all flew apart and in disorder, especially where the body was about to fall. Zarathustra, however, remained standing, and just beside him fell the body, badly injured and disfigured, but not yet dead. After a while, consciousness returned to the shattered man, and he saw Zarathustra kneeling beside him. "What art thou doing there?" said he at last. "I knew long ago that the devil would trip me up. Now he draggeth me to hell. Wilt thou prevent him?" "On mine honor, my friend," answered Zarathustra, "there is nothing of all that whereof thou speakest. There is no devil and no hell. Thy soul will be dead even sooner than thy body. Fear, therefore, nothing any more." The man looked up distrustfully. "If thou speakest the truth," said he, "I lose nothing when I lose my life. I am not much more than an animal which hath been taught to dance by blows and scanty fare." "Not at all," said Zarathustra. "Thou hast made danger thy calling. Therein there is nothing contemptible. Now thou perishest by thy calling. Therefore will I bury thee with mine own hands." When Zarathustra had said this, the dying one did not reply further, but he moved his hand as if he sought the hand of Zarathustra in gratitude. "And what then would you say? I should rather say that those who elevate astronomy into philosophy appear to me to make us look downwards and not upwards." "What do you mean?" he asked. "You," I replied, "have in your mind a truly sublime conception of our knowledge of the things above, and I dare say that if a person were to throw his head back and study the fretted ceiling, you would still think that his mind was the percipient and not his eyes. And you are very likely right, and I may be a simpleton, but in my opinion, That knowledge only which is of being and of the unseen can make the soul look upwards, and whether a man gapes at the heavens or blinks on the ground, seeking to learn some particular of sense, I would deny that he can learn, for nothing of that sort is matter of science. His soul is looking downwards, not upwards, whether his way to knowledge is by water or by land, whether he floats or only lies on his back. I acknowledge, he said, the justice of your rebuke. Still, I should like to ascertain how astronomy can be learned in any manner more conducive to that knowledge of which we are speaking. I will tell you, I said, the starry heaven which we behold is wrought upon a visible ground, and therefore, although the fairest and most perfect of visible things must necessarily be deemed inferior far to the true motions of absolute swiftness and absolute slowness, which are relative to each other and carry with them that which is contained in them, in the true number and in every true figure. Now, these are to be apprehended by reason and intelligence.
Go kiss my ass.
Shut up! After that time, those who are selected from the class of 20 years old will be promoted to higher honor, and the sciences which they learned without. 2. Zarathustra went down the mountain alone, no one meets. The contradiction expressed in these two views as to the relation between dream life, better to be the poor servant of a poor master, and Zarathustra's prologue, The Golden Bough, a study of magic and religion, by Sir James George Fraser. Contents. Preface. Subject Index. Chapter 1. The King of the Wood. 1. Diana and Verbius. 2. Artemis and Hippolytus. 3. Recapitulation. Chapter 2. Priestly Kings. Chapter 3. Sympathetic Magic. 1. The Principles of Magic. 2. Homeopathic or imitative magic. 3. Contagious magic. 4. The Magician's Progress. Chapter 4. Magic and Religion. Chapter 5. The Magical Control of the Weather. 1. The Public Magician. Brainless Parasite. 2. The Magical Control of Rain. 3. The Magical Control of the Sun. 4. Brainless Parasite. The Magical Control of the Wind. Recalcitrant. Chapter 6. Magicians Stupid fucking log. Chapter 7. Incarnate Human Gods. Chapter 8. Departmental Kings of Nature. Chapter 9. The Worship of Trees. 1. Tree Spirits. 2. Beneficent Powers of Tree Spirits. Chapter 10. Relics of Tree Worship in Modern Europe. Chapter 11. The Influence of the Sexes on Vegetation. Chapter 12. The Sacred Marriage. 1. Diana is a goddess of fertility. 2. The Marriage of the Gods. Chapter 13. The Kings of Rome and Alba. 1. Numa and Egeria. 2. The King as Jupiter. Chapter 14. Succession to the Kingdom in Ancient Latium. Chapter 15. The Worship of the Oak. Chapter 16. Dianus and Diana. Chapter 17. The Burden of Royalty. 1. Royal and Priestly Taboos. 2. Divorce of the Spiritual from the Temporal Power. Chapter 18. The Perils of the Soul. 1. The Soul as a Mannequin. 2. Absence and Recall of the Soul. 3. The Soul as a Shadow and a Reflection. Chapter 19. Tabooed Acts. 1. Taboos on intercourse with strangers. 2. Taboos on eating and drinking. 3. Taboos on showing the face. 4. Taboos on quitting the house. 5. Taboos on leaving food over. Chapter 20. Tabooed Persons. 1. Chiefs and kings tabooed. 2. Mourners tabooed. 3. Women tabooed at menstruation and childbirth. 4. Warriors tabooed. 5. Manslayers tabooed. 6. Hunters and fishers tabooed. Chapter 21. Tabooed Things. 1. The Meaning of Taboo. 2. Iron tabooed. 3. Sharp weapons tabooed. 4. Blood tabooed. 5. The head tabooed. 6. Hair tabooed. 7. Ceremonies at hair cutting. 8. Disposal of cut hair and nails. 9. Spittle tabooed. 10. Foods tabooed. 11. Knots and rings tabooed. Chapter 22. Tabooed Words. 1. Personal names tabooed. 2. Names of relations tabooed. 3. Names of the dead tabooed. 4. Names of kings and other sacred persons tabooed. 5. Names of gods tabooed. Chapter 23. Our Debt to the Savage. Chapter 24. The Killing of the Divine King. 1. The Mortality of the Gods. Turn 2. Kings killed when their strength fails. Tersifra. Kings killigasom. Akdieng of a system. Chapter 25. Temporary Kings. Chapter 26. Sacrifice of the King's Son. Chapter 27. Succession to the Soul. Chapter 28. The Killing of the Tree Spirit. 1. The Whitsuntide Mummers. 2. Burying the Con of
Zarathustra's Prologue. 1. When Zarathustra was 30 years old, he left his home and the lake of his home and went into the mountains. There he enjoyed his spirit and solitude, and for 10 years did not weary of it. But at last, his heart changed, and rising one morning with the rosy dawn, he went before
Brain donor.
Hey, do you want to play Dual Citizens?
You troglodytes disgust me. Don't you know you should be working to improve your monthly bonus so you can have me? Eat it, shithead.
I don't want a monthly bonus. I want to play Dual
Weirdo,
Citizens.
loser.
Wow. Hey, do you want to play Dual Citizens?
Yeah, sure, I'd love to.
Great.
Motherfucker. Goddamn fucker.
Okay. I'll teach you how to play. So just walk up to me
Shit,
and
different
press
brains,
back.
piece of crap.
If you
Garbage
win, I'll
worm.
give you something good.
You're weird. You're too stupid. You're sick. Thor. 3. The problem that I set here is not what shall replace mankind in the order of living creatures. Man is an end, but what type of man must be bred, must be willed as being the most valuable, the most worthy of life, the most secure guarantee of the future. This more valuable type has appeared often enough in the past, but always as a happy accident, as an exception, never as deliberately willed. Very often it has been precisely the most feared. Hitherto it has been almost the terror of terrors, and out of that terror the contrary type has been willed, cultivated and attained. The domestic animal, the herd animal, the sick brute man, the Christian. 4. Mankind surely does not represent an evolution toward a better or stronger or higher level, as progress is now understood. This progress is merely a modern idea, which is to say, a false idea. The European of today in his essential worth falls far below the European of the Renaissance. Die worm.
Fuck you.
You're stupid. Parasite. Die parasite. Stupid bitch. Piece of garbage. Pervert. Worthless cow. Piece of crap. Stupid recalcitrant. Brainless parasite. Die parasite. First book, European Nihilism. A plan. 1. Nihilism is at our door. Whence comes this most gruesome of all guests to us? Piece of garbage. To begin with, it is a mistake to point to social evils, physiological degeneration, or even to corruption as a cause of nihilism. Brain donor. This is the most straightforward and most sympathetic speech that ever was. Evil, whether spiritual, physical, or intellectual, is in itself quite unable to introduce nihilism, i.e., the absolute repudiation of worth, purpose, desirability. These evils allow of yet other and quite different explanations, but there is one very definite explanation of the phenomena. Nihilism harbors in the heart of Christian morals, touted the downfall of Christianity through its morality, which is in Garbage worm. Yes, my friend, I said, and there lies
Worthless
the point.
cow.
You must contrive for your future rulers another and a better life than that of a ruler, and then you may have a well-ordered useless log. Piece of crap. You're weird. Stupid fucking log. Motherfucker. Loser. Stupid bitch. Virgin. You're stupid. Goddamn fucker. Eat it, shithead. Geek. You're sick. You worm. Shit brains, piece of crap. Recalcitrant. You're sick. Virgin. Useless log. Brain. You're stupid.
Parasite. Piece of crap.
Piece of crap.
Shit,
Brains,
worthless
crap.
cow.
Garbage worm. You're too stupid.
That
Loser.
worm.
Weird. Geek. Parasite. Brainless parasite. Goddamn fucker. Stupid shit. You're stupid. You're too stupid. You're weird. There is nothing much they like better, and when they have made many conquests and received defeats at the hands of many, they violently and speedily get into a way of not believing anything which they believed before.
Brainless parasite.
Goddamn butt philosophy, all that relates to it is apt to have a bad name with the rest of the world. Too true, he said. Stupid bitch. But when a man begins to parasite, he will no longer be guilty of such insanity. He will imitate the dialectician who is seeking for truth, and not the heuristic who is contradicting for the sake of amusement. And the greater moderation of his character will increase instead of diminishing the honor of the pursuit. Very true, he said. You're sick. Piece of garbage.
Stupid fucking log. You're sick. Loser.
The interpretation of dreams. 1. I, the scientific literature on the problems of the dream. D. In the following pags I shall prove that there exists a psychological technique by which dreams may be interpreted and that upon the application You're stupid.
Hey, do you want to play Dual Citizens?
I'm going to rip off your head and throw it into the fire.
Who are you?
I'm a shade of darkness from the other side. The place above where humans walk, and I am so high above
Fuck you.
Merely being human is like playing with the toy for me. Brain donor. The Scripture of Miroku, Chapter 20. Chapter name, Requiem for a Rose. 21. Meanwhile, by the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, 3 people fell ill in the sight of the tree. 22. They erupted in sickness, spewing their sickness around them, then possessed by demonic convulsions, they fell to the ground dead. 23. This disturbed some people, especially those most affected. But with the war outside Straum raging, the king's vaults running dry, and rumors of demons and curses, few dead by the tree was of no consequence. 24. The king of Straum, Leo Geralt Straum, was perplexed that day. His wife was quarreling with his favorite concubine. 25. She had once again demanded that the woman be put to death, but after discussing the matter with the king for many hours, the king had decided against it. 26. But when the king's favorite concubine fell ill and died that night, the king was angry. 27. He shouted at his wife that she had gone too far and crossed lines, questioning his authority. She protested her innocence at first, but after a half hour she laughed in his face and called him a fool, said the girl had it coming, wandered off clutching a bottle of wine. 28. Leo then went to his wife's bedroom clutching a dagger to confront her on the issue, but she wasn't there. 29. He searched and searched. The guardhouse was understaffed due to sickness that day, and no one had seen her. 2010. There he found her, outside the tavern, collapsed at the floor, eyes wide. She was dead. 2011. Leo ran up to her with tears in his eyes, screaming for her to wake up. But she did, not awake. 2012. As he sat holding her, crying and confused, the snake slithered up to him and went in his heart, and he died of sickness, spewing sickness upon the floor. 2013. The last thing he saw was the interior of the tavern. Bodies were strewn apart everywhere. 2014. The snake slithered through the castle, killing and killing and killing. 2015. And all within the castle died of sickness. 2016. Sitting upon the throne, the snake hissed with laughter. 2017. A good dead day for you, King Leo, the snake said. I guess I am king now. But I am of the living. Why rule over a kingdom of corpses? I spit upon your dead throne. 2018. A cat walked up to the snake, stroking its tail against him, and God said, Snake, what are you doing to my kingdom? 2019. The snake went into the cat, and he died of sickness. 2020. That, he said. 2020. Surely anyone who eats from your favorite tree will die, said God, wryly, smiling to himself. You are very protective of it. 2022. It's my tree, the snake loudly hissed. Humans have no right to the fruit of my tree. 2023. Forgive them, O Lucifer, they know not what they do. 2024. I am clean when I kill the blind, for none sight or not may take what is mine, said the snake. 2025. God apologized for the humans intruding on his tree and returned to exile in 2026. Lucifer sat upon the throne. Preface: this book belongs to the most rare of men. Perhaps not one of them is yet alive. It is possible that they may be among those who understand my Zarathustra. How could I confound myself with those who are now sprouting ears? First, the day after tomorrow must come for me. Some men are born posthumously. The conditions under which anyone understands me, and necessarily understands me, I know them only too well. Even to endure my seriousness, my passion, he must carry intellectual integrity to the verge of hardness. He must be accustomed to living on mountaintops and to looking upon the wretched gabble of politics and nationalism as beneath him. He must have become indifferent. He must never ask of the truth whether it brings profit to him or a fatality to him. He must have an inclination, born of strength, for questions that no one has the courage for the forbidden, predestination for the labyrinth, the experience of 7 solitudes, new ears for new music, new eyes for what is most distant, a new conscience for truths that have hitherto remained unheard, and the will to economize in the grand manner, to hold together his strength, his enthusiasm, reverence for self, love of self, absolute freedom of self.
Very well then, of that sort only are my readers, my true readers, my readers foreordained. Of what account are the rest? The rest are merely humanity. One must make one's soul superior to humanity, in power, in loftiness of soul, and in contempt. Friedrich W. Nietzsche, the Antichrist.
Go to hell! Kiss my ass! I, the King of the Wood. 1. Diana and Verbius. Who does not know Turner's picture of the Golden Bough, the scene, suffused with the golden glow of imagination in which the divine mind of Turner steeped and transfigured even the fairest natural landscape, is a dreamlike vision of the little woodland lake of Nemi, Diana's mirror, as it was called by the ancients. No one who has seen that calm water lapped in a green hollow of the Alban Hills can ever forget it. The 2 characteristic Italian villages which slumber on its banks and the equally Italian palace whose terraced gardens descend steeply to the lake hardly break the stillness and even the solitariness of the scene. Diana herself might still linger by this lonely shore, still haunt these woodlands wild. In antiquity, this sylvan landscape was the scene of a strange and recurring tragedy. On the northern shore of the lake, right under the precipitous cliffs on which the modern village of Nemi is perched, stood the sacred grove and sanctuary of Diana Nemorensis, or Diana of the Wood. The lake and the grove were sometimes known as the Lake and Grove of Aricia, but the town of Aricia, the modern Lauricia, was situated about 3 miles off, at the foot of the Alban Mount, and separated by a steep descent from the lake, which lies in a small crater-like hollow on the mountainside. In this sacred grove there grew a certain tree round which at any time of the day, and probably far into the night, a grim figure might be seen to prowl. In his hand he carried a drawn sword, and he kept peering warily about him, as if at every instant he expected to be set upon by an enemy. He was a priest and a murderer, and the man for whom he looked was sooner or later to murder him and hold the priesthood in his stead. Such was the rule of the sanctuary. A candidate for the priesthood could only succeed to office by slaying the priest, and having slain him, he retained office till he was himself slain by a stronger or a craftier. The post which he held by this precarious tenure carried with it the title of king, but surely no crowned head ever lay uneasier, or was visited by more evil dreams than his. For year in, year out, in summer and winter, in fair weather and in foul, he had to keep his lonely watch, and whenever he snatched a troubled slumber, it was at the peril of his life. The least relaxation of his vigilance, the smallest abatement of his strength of limb or skill of fence, put him in jeopardy. Grey hairs might seal his death warrant. To gentle and pious pilgrims at the shrine, the sight of him might well seem to darken the fair landscape, as when a cloud suddenly blots the sun on a bright day. The dreamy blue of Italian skies, the dappled shade of summer woods, and the sparkle of waves in the sun, can have accorded but ill with that stern and sinister figure. Rather, we picture to ourselves the scene as it may have been witnessed by a belated wayfarer on one of those wild autumn nights when the dead leaves are falling thick and the winds seem to sing the dirge of the dying year. It is a somber picture set to melancholy music, the background of forest showing black and jagged against a lowering and stormy sky, the sighing of the wind in the branches, the rustle of the withered leaves underfoot, the lapping of the cold water on the shore, and in the foreground, pacing to and fro, now in twilight and such gifts as keenness and ready powers are worse of acquisition, for the mind more often faints from the severity of study than from the severity of gymnastics. The toil is more entirely the mind's own, and is not shared with the body. Very true, he replied. Further, he of whom we are in search should have a good memory, and be an unwearied solid man who is a lover of labor in any line, or he will never be able to endure the great amount of bodily exercise and to go through all the intellectual discipline and study which we require of him. Certainly, he said, he must have natural gifts. The mistake at present is that those who study philosophy have no vocation, and this, as I was before saying, is the reason why she has fallen into disrepute. her true sons should take her by the hand and not bastards. What do you mean? In the first place, her votary should not have a lame or halting industry. I mean that he should not be half industrious and half idle, as, for example, when a man is a lover of gymnastic and hunting and all other bodily exercises, but a hater rather than a lover of the labor of learning or listening or inquiring. Or the occupation to which he devotes himself may be of an opposite kind, and he may have the other sort of lameness, certainly, he said. And as to truth, I said, is not a soul equally to be deemed halt and lame, which hates voluntary falsehood and is extremely indignant at herself and others when they tell lies, but is patient of involuntary falsehood, and does not mind wallowing like a swinish beast in the mire of ignorance, and has no shame at being detected. To be sure, and, again, in respect of temperance, courage, magnificence, and every other virtue, should we not carefully distinguish between the true son and the bastard? For where there is no discernment of such qualities, states and individuals unconsciously err, and the state makes a ruler, and the individual a friend of one who, being defective in some part of virtue, is in a figure lame or a bastard. That is very true, he said. All these things, then, will have to be carefully considered by us, and if only those whom we introduce to this vast system of education and training are sound in body and mind, justice herself will have nothing to say against us, and we shall be the saviors of the Constitution and of the state. But if our pupils are men of another stamp, the reverse will happen, and we shall pour a still greater flood of ridicule on philosophy than she has to endure.